Well, I don't want to sound like people who have been out of politics, because normally whenever something is bound to fail, somebody says it's a political statement. At a political level, that's what he has said. He said Ekisanja hakuna mchezo, meaning no jokes. He was joked and even played in the iron sheets. And we saw what has been happening. For some 10 years, I used to teach under Professor Museveni. He would force me to set an exam, but before you submit the exam you're about to administer, you'd have to generate a marking scheme. Now, when General Museveni sets the exam, he gives us the marking scheme by which we are going to judge him. And this is not the first time. As Andrew said, this is the 9th time he's making a pledge to Uganda. And actually, I do not even call it a pledge, I call it an undertaking to Ugandans. 9 times. Now, if your judgment is that in the last 8 times he has been scoring 8 or 90, then you're right to trust him this time round. Somebody asked me when I said this, that, you know, who are you to judge him when Ugandans have judged him? I said, fine. If you asked me that, Timothy, I will ask you, why did you call me, not those other Ugandans? You would go to the clock tower, is it Constitutional Square or something, somewhere? Call Ugandans and ask them for their opinion. Now, like Andrew, I want to say, I do not want to judge him by the past. If I were to judge him by the past, I would say he has miserably failed. Part of the failure could be internal, inherent within him, that he's not able to deliver that. Part of it would be the surroundings. I mean, you and I and the other people, as Andrew said, we are not pious, we're not holy. We are a very difficult lot to deal with. You know, I was following the eulogization of the late Honorable Helen Nachimoli. One of the government ministers said, oh, this lady has not been transactional. I tried to buy her, but unlike others, she refused. So I said, I don't know, it is his judgment. And I asked a question. You have a government minister that says that he has been buying politicians to cross over, and this person is on the streets walking the following day without writing a statement.
Which minister, to be precise?
My young brother Balam Barugahara. I would have no problem going to the police to stand surety for Balam if he had been summoned to explain further and where he has been getting the money from. You have a group of ministers that are accused of feasting on iron sheets meant for the poor in Karamoja. Poor Nandutu is in the coolers. You may find others escaping. And I think I've addressed this issue here. That one does not point to a government that is serving with both dedication and distinction. And I've said before that some people may want to serve with dedication, because dedication is about commitment. Distinction is different. It is divine providence. It is God to give you the power and the ability to serve with the distinctions. Distinction simplified is that you serve in a distinguished manner. Now, if you have a president that has ruled a country for 8 consecutive terms, and you still have these problems, either the problem is with the population he's ruling or with the person himself. That does not stop at corruption, which you hinted on, but also our planning. When I was chairing the Public Accounts Committee, we visited a mega electricity generation plant in, is it called Nyagak? Nagak. No, Nyagak, okay, whichever it is, in northern Uganda. we found that we had paid millions of dollars. Electricity was generated, but we had no connecting poles and cables to evacuate that power. And in West Nile, where it was meant to go, and the bigger part of northern Uganda, we were paying another private company to generate electricity, thermal. Now, on the one hand, you are paying for this electricity. You paid for it to be produced or to be brought to that level. But you do not have the means to evacuate it so that it serves those people. That points to planning. Let me talk about agriculture, which is basically the backbone of our country. Recently, I was in Nairobi, and an Uber driver told me, in Kenya, if you don't work, you will not eat. Then I remember and contrasted with a statement my brother Joel made, that Uganda is so good that if even fools survive. Because if you don't have food, you walk into Andrew Mwenda's house during lunchtime, you walk away satisfied man. In the evening, for those that eat dinner, you walk into Professor Banywa's house, you walk out a satisfied man. Now, because of that, we need to take advantage of agriculture, which is our backbone. First, produce food to feed our population, but also produce food to sell to the neighborhood. I am a farmer. These young people normally say an upcoming artist, upcoming farmer. The Kenyans told me they feed the animals and birds with food produced in Uganda. When you go to ask for a liter of milk in a Kenyan supermarket, you will get it at the equivalent of about 7,000 Uganda shillings. In Uganda, a liter of milk is only 2,000 in urban areas or peri-urban areas.
3,500.
No, I am a farmer myself.
Oh, upcoming.
Yes, but I'm selling. I sell my milk for 2,000. And people tell me, if you go to Western Uganda where there is a lot of milk, a liter would even go for 900 or at times 700 shillings. What is the problem? The problem is not that Munyankole man who produces his milk. The problem is his government, which does not help him plan. Beyond putting his milk in a cooler, there is nothing like value addition. At some point, I was watching President Ruto talking about milk from Uganda when the Kenyans were protesting that they should stop importing milk from Uganda. He said, no, the problem is not milk from Uganda. We want to drink milk. We are producing milk. Let us produce milk, add value, sell it to Cameroon, then we get cheap milk from Uganda. To me, that was a very big statement. And I've repeatedly said here, in 2015, when we were generating the Go Forward manifesto, one of the things we were talking about was a community bank, where someone would be able to access moderately cheap credit to do planning for those people that do not have the capacity to plan. All you have to do is to make, because they normally say the budget is a political document, just get money, some little money, throw it around the population and call it PDM. And you say, this is the magic bullet. At some point, there are people who are advised, do vanilla. Others, you just rear these millipedes or whatever, you know. So it is a game of gambling. Actually, if I were the president, at some point I would say, we are not going to do any development budget for the next 4 months. Let us first do planning. When you do planning, you are able to achieve, however little it may be, it is organized. Finally, I think a point that was hinted on by Andrew Mwenda when he said, the bureaucracies, you want procedural compliance as against results. My view is that we cannot open up that, okay, you go to Owino, buy beans and so on and so forth. I was around during COVID when some people wanted to supply beans and posho to the OPM without going through processes and procedures. Now, those that stuck to processes and procedures ended up in the coolers. My view is that you can do both, because if we simply open up that you walk into a window, buy beans, come and supply, then it will be abused. I don't know why some people like Andrew Mwenda fear processes and procedures. Just say these processes must lead us to these results, and you'll be able to win. What he talked about, there was a PS at some point who skipped the processes and procedures but saved government money. What she said was, why should I go out to rent when I have a government building that I can repair for less? Indeed, repaired the building for less, saved government money. But the question was, did you follow procedures? Did you follow processes? I don't want to talk about this case because somehow it is still live in courts, and everybody was wondering, how did she end up there? The money is there that she saved. The building is there that she repaired. You know, but she's in prison. Why? Because these procedures and processes are not meant in vain. You must follow them. So for my brother General Museveni, for the promises are welcome. As to whether this hope is hope indeed, we wait to see, because somebody woke up as Saul and slept as Paul. So I'm here to welcome the poll of the year, to see results walking into my pocket, because he wants to transform the economy. He has said before that we are in middle income status. He has been opposed by bureaucrats within and outside who said, no, you are nowhere near.
Okay, thank you.